So really the solution here is just don't touch your eyebrows. What's up guys, I'm Deirdre and today we're talking my top 5 mineral sunscreens for the face. So thank you so much for spending some time with me today and let's get into it. Okay friends, I was not always a mineral sunscreen girl. I was deep into the Asian sunscreen. Eventually I found myself without a chemical sunscreen, so while I ordered one, I reached for a mineral sunscreen and it took a few weeks for that chemical sunscreen to arrive. And in that time, I noticed that while I was using the mineral sunscreen, my skin was much less sensitized to my more active ingredients, such as my tretinoin and my acids. I was surprised by this because it wasn't as if when I applied the chemical sunscreen, I had any type of irritation. It didn't sting, there wasn't redness. Because of this, I thought that my skin was tolerating the chemical filters well. Even though I knew that chemical filters tend to be more irritating to the skin, I thought that I would see that upon initial application, which wasn't the case. But once I removed it from my routine, it became apparent that those chemical filters were sensitizing my skin. Let me know in the comments if you've experienced anything similar. Would love to hear from you as well. Okay, so the glowiest of the bunch is the Cotz Flawless Complexion SPF 50. This is a zinc oxide sunscreen of 20%. Zinc oxide is the only mineral filter in the sunscreen, which I'm okay with because I know that zinc is the superior filter in comparison to titanium dioxide. And it is superior because it does a better job of protecting my skin against UVA, think aging, rays. These are the sneaky ones that can penetrate windows and get you when you're sitting on the couch binging Love is Blind, which I can't have. So yeah, zinc oxide is queen. Outside of the zinc oxide in this formulation, there's really no callouts beyond glycerin, which does act as a nice humectant. I think that the simplicity of this sunscreen, it really is what makes it so special. It is tinted, but the tint in this is not enough to actually change the color of my face. I think it really just acts to counterbalance the white of the zinc. This disappears completely into my skin. It does come in 2 tints. Mine is the lighter tint, and then there's also a darker version. And I was watching a video by Glow by Ramon, who has darker skin than I do, as well as a beard. This worked for him as well. So I think that this would be a great addition to any sunscreen collection, but especially if you do lean more dry, because this is quite glowy upon finish. This also spreads super easily over the face, and anyone who's looking for something quick, fast, and easy would love this. Next up is the Naked Sundays Collagen Glow SPF 50+. There is zinc oxide of 22% in this, and this is water resistant for up to 80 minutes, which is great. As far as ingredient callouts, there is watermelon extract, which acts as an antioxidant that helps your skin to fight free radicals, as well as collagen. So the collagen in here does act as a nice moisturizer, but anything that's labeled as containing collagen doesn't actually promote or cultivate growth of collagen from within the skin. When you first look at this, it looks rather gray, which is a bit concerning, but I have a few application techniques that I think will really make the difference here. And once I figured out how to properly apply this, it quickly became my #1 sunscreen. So it comes out really thick in consistency, and you really have to spend some time warming it up between your fingers. So I spend about 10 to 15 seconds doing just that before I go ahead and stamp this onto my face. And you can see it has a clay-like quality to it when it goes on. After working it into my skin, I notice no noticeable tint, but I am left with a beautiful glow. In addition to that glow, this is super tacky. So think e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. That's the level of tack and grip that this leaves behind, which makes it beautiful for wearing under makeup. I love wearing something a bit more matte over this, and I do feel that this helps prolong the life of my makeup. As far as the water resistant claims, I can absolutely attest to the 80 minutes of water resistance here. I wore this on an adventure day in Hawaii when we paddleboarded out to a sandbar on the east side of the island and then did some snorkeling. And even after being in and out of the water and having my snorkel mask on and off, I still felt the tack of this sunscreen, which was super impressive to me. And even though I forgot my sun hat that day, I didn't come home with any burns or any noticeable effects to my skin from the sun. So this is an overall great sunscreen. It feels very elevated in formulation, it works well under makeup, and it's great for those more sweaty adventure days when you're going to be super active outside. This is manufactured in Australia, so I was a bit nervous that the shipping would take a while, but that wasn't the case for me. It always comes really quickly. And I know that you can also buy this on Revolve. The Naked Sundays site itself does have better deals. So this will often go on a 15-20% sale. And the best sale I've seen from them is buy one, get one free, which was great. And I was super tempted to pick 2 up, but I already have 2 extras in my stash, so I was able to hold off. But nonetheless, if you're interested in this, definitely keep an eye on the website. Overall, if I only had to pick one sunscreen out of these 5, I think this might be it. It might be my ultimate holy grail because it's just so versatile, so protective, and water resistant as well. So if you haven't given this a try, I highly recommend it. Next, we have the Undefined R&R SPF 50 with zinc of 12%. This is water resistant for 40 minutes, and it also is jam-packed with skin-caring ingredients. This has raspberry seed, tremella mushroom, as well as jojoba esters and niacinamide. So I would give this the #1 spot when it comes to beneficial ingredients for the skin. As far as application here, I use a dot method. So I'll go in with 11 to 13 dots, work that into the skin, and then wait a couple minutes before going in with the second layer. The tint on this appears quite orange upon initially coming out of the bottle, but once I work it into the skin, it's not super apparent. It does alter the shade of my face a tiny bit, especially towards the back of the jaw where I think I'm the palest, but it's not something that's noticeable enough to stop me from using this. The best thing about this sunscreen is its ability to eliminate texture. So it really gives me a glass skin effect. I feel like my texture, especially on my forehead, is super smooth when I use this. The other call out here is a bit of a strange one, and it's that it makes my eyebrows feel a little bit coarse to the touch. It's not something that I notice if I don't touch my eyebrows, so really the solution here is just don't touch your eyebrows, but I have a bad habit of doing that, and when I touch them, it just feels like my eyebrow hairs need to be conditioned or something. That's probably a really niche complaint and maybe doesn't apply to you, but I don't know. Let me know if you've ever had a product that makes your eyebrows feel super coarse to the touch. It's just not a feeling I'm super into. Nonetheless, I will not stop using this. It is jam-packed with beneficial skin ingredients and it looks so beautiful under makeup, so it's always one that I'll have a backup of. Next, we're looking at the Solara Suncare SPF 30. This has zinc of 19%. This contains aloe, green tea, as well as a barrier-supportive lactobacillus ferment. So a lot of really good ingredients in this. And I will say that the aloe to me is super apparent in that when I apply this, it has such a nice cooling sensation. This is the only one that doesn't contain any tint. So it's very white coming out of the bottle and very white going on your face at first. But once you work this in, and I do apply this in 2 layers as well, it has no apparent white cast on my fair skin. I do use a full 4 pumps of this to ensure that I am achieving the SPF 30. I am super cognizant of doing that, especially with anything that's under the SPF 50, which I typically prefer. I went in right after my serums this morning with this sunscreen, and I felt that it definitely provides enough moisture that I needed today. So no visible white cast and definitely more of a satin finish, which I can really appreciate because most of the sunscreens in my arsenal are more leaning glowy. Because it does have that lactobacillus ferment in it, it is going to also serve the purpose of repairing any barrier damage that you may be experiencing. I actually found this online on eBay for about half the retail price than what I'm seeing at Target. There is an expiration date printed on the bottom of this bottle, so I do know that the sunscreen ingredient in here is still effective. That's always something to keep in mind when you're ordering on eBay if the product is expired or not. So if you are exploring that route, maybe just ask the seller if they're willing to send you a photo of the bottom so that you can make sure that what you're getting is still good. Number 5 is Bliss Blockstar, and it's an SPF 30. This has titanium dioxide of 4% and zinc oxide of 11.5%. This has a really nice antioxidant blend of blueberry, acai, as well as green tea extracts. And this one is a bit different than the others in that it is more matte leaning. So the texture is super moussey and it is super easy to apply. So no specific strategies for applying this. It spreads really easy and really smoothly over the face, and it provides such a beautiful primer for any makeup. So while it's matte, it definitely doesn't flatten out my face. It still allows my skin to look healthy and glowy. So I don't want that to scare anyone away, but I do think this can be used by both dry and oily skin individuals. I think that those with more oily skin will be especially appreciative of this. And I know that this is actually one of Hiram's favorite sunscreens, and he actually sent me this little tiny version, which is so sweet of him, and I'm super excited to bring that on a trip later on this month. The other important call out here is that it is highly fragrant, so it smells wildly of lavender oil. I feel like if I put this in my humidifier, it would like aromatherapy my entire place because it's that strong. So definitely something that you should know. I am not reactive to the fragrance in this, but if you try to steer clear, this is definitely not the one for you. Would love to see Bliss come out with a non-fragrance version of this. It doesn't seem like it should be that hard to create the same formula, just minus those fragrance ingredients. So, all right, guys, that wraps up my top 5 mineral sunscreens. I am always testing new sunscreens, so if my top 5 lineup changes, I will be sure to let you know. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching and for considering liking and subscribing below. It really helps me out. But until next time, I will see you next time.